The SynchroMystic presents SynchroMystique. From January 3rd to January the 7th, 2025, the colossal winter storm dubbed Blair by the media wreaked havoc over portions of the continental United States. But what's in a name? It turns out that the Weather Channel was responsible for calling the system Blair. Evidently, this 2024 to 2025 winter season is their 13th such year doing so. So, for this 13th anniversary of the Weather Channel's naming conventions, I can't help reflecting on the fact that this name, one possible meaning of which is often given as battlefield, is more than a bit inauspicious. For a cultural point of reference, one thinks of the commercially successful 1999 psychological horror film, The Blair Witch Project. Apparently, a follow-up movie, one of several as it turns out, was released in 2016 under the title Blair Witch. Incidentally, the creators of the Blair Witch character were inspired by tales of Tennessee's Bell Witch, and some observers have suggested a Lovecraftian element or two in the production, a nod to American short story writer Howard Phillips H.P. Lovecraft, best known for his Cthulhu mythos. Is it worth noting that artist Blair Earl Reynolds was, until his death in 2021, a prolific illustrator of comics and role-playing game paraphernalia, including Call of Cthulhu? Or there's the fact, in the same synchronous penumbra, that actor Anthony Wilford Brimley played a character named Blair in John Carpenter's 1982 sci-fi horror flick, The Thing. Even earlier, of course, then 14-year-old actress Linda Blair portrayed the ostensibly demon-possessed Reagan McNeil in the critically acclaimed 1973 horror film The Exorcist, which, according to various online sources, was also loosely based on real accounts of alleged exorcisms. Then there's the Blair House, otherwise known as the Presidential Guest House, which we mentioned in our 9/11 Syncs video. Frequently used as an exclusive hotel for foreign dignitaries visiting the U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C., it was the scene of an ultimately unsuccessful attempt on the life of 33rd President Harry S. Truman in November of 1950. Built in 1824 and adjacent to the symbolically pregnant Lafayette Square, Blair House just concluded its bicentennial and has the dubious distinction of being one of 3 presidential dwellings that, some say, are haunted. The other 2 are the so-called Octagon House and, most conspicuously, the White House. We intend to investigate these angles further in a planned exploration of the District of Columbia, so stay tuned. We previously cited Blair House in association with William Jefferson Clinton. Bill Clinton, born William Blythe III, had numerous dealings with then British Prime Minister Anthony Charles Tony Blair, but the latter is probably much better remembered for his post-9/11 prosecution of the War on Terror, along with Clinton's successor, George W. Bush. Some observers have blamed W. and his USA Patriot Act for ramping up the Orwellian quality of 21st century American domestic life. So, would you agree that it's synchromystically significant that the famed author of such dystopian classics as 1984 and Animal Farm, while popularly lauded under his nom de plume George Orwell, was, of course, born Eric Arthur Blair?